God blessings everybody, this is the Gaming Christian 1 and this time we are going to check out the Kingdom Hearts 2 the complete guide. Yes, this is one of those expensive piggyback books. Piggybackinteractive.com mostly make these books here in Europe, and we are going to check it out. This is going to be a pretty a long video, but also a very detailed video where I'm going to show you most pages and the things that I like about them, the things that takes my attention. Let's get it started. I really like the cover. It's just like the cover of the game, obviously. The game itself is kind of fun. I really enjoy myself with Kingdom Hearts 2. Of course, you have your standard, you have your contents, your index, blah blah blah. With nice cover art. I really like this. Obviously, it's pretty self-explanatory. On page 6 and 7, they tell you how to play the game. Starting the adventure, more like a tutorial pages. Really like this. The controls, the basics. I really like the introduction of Kingdom Hearts 2. It was a really confusing introduction if you played it for the first time. It's a pretty cool beginning, and when you because she plays Roxas. Of course, I don't want to spoil anything because the beginning is so emotional. If I'm going to make a top 10 most emotional scenes in games, the beginning would be one emotional trip. It's a beautiful beginning, but it's also a very emotional beginning. Play the game yourself if you want to see what I mean. Of course, there's the first battle. There's some nice artwork here and there. Screenshots of the game, very nice. They're going to show you the main menu with some more artwork. This is a very nice book, but piggybacks make extremely nice books, with nice covers, with nice artwork in them, with nice screenshots. It's all very well. It's very clear how it all is. It's very nicely classified, the way it's been put together. This is one of the reasons why I like the books. It's very easy to understand. You can find when you look for, when you have trouble with the game and you don't really want to go to the internet, you really want to use the book. You just go to a certain section of this book and you can find it pretty easily. But it's also very nicely. It's just a collector's item. That's the reason to have this book. Of course, there's the main screen. They actually explain how certain things on screen works. More artwork, very nice. Yes, the commands menu, the party, how it all works, techniques and skills. Nothing too special. Special forms. I really like that about Kingdom Hearts 2 is the special forms. It really looks awesome. You get different kind of outfits, different kind of powers. You are unstoppable in the final form. You truly are unstoppable. And if you train a lot of levels, and you can also train those forms. So if you are transformed in those forms, you can actually train those forms, and you can actually be stronger and tougher with those forms. It's absolutely amazing, wonderful. There's summons, the gummy ship. The gummy ship has returned. There are shmup sections with your gummy ship. You can actually create your own gummy ship. Of course, there's the game over screen. Now they introduce you to the characters in bigger detail, as obviously. You start with Roxas. He's a tragic figure. I really thought it was sad how he was put into the story. There's Sora. You see his action abilities. His levels, very amazing. You see his abilities, what he can actually unlock. His magic skills, his forms. You see his forms in bigger details. There's, of course, the anti-form. I didn't like the anti-form. He was fast, but he wasn't strong, so it took way too long. And besides, you can't train your anti-form. Because sometimes when you change into a form, sometimes you change into the more important forms, what you can train, but sometimes you would also change into this anti-form, and I didn't like it so much. But maybe they did it on purpose, so you won't use the form all the time. But trust me, you will use the form when you play this game, because it will make the game a lot easier and a lot more fun. Of course, there's Donald Duck, one of your trusty companion, the classic Donald Duck. You see a black and white Donald Duck. here, you know, from back in the day. Of course, there's Goofy. There isn't much information about your trusty side characters, Goofy and Donald. And of course, you can train them to level 99, so that's actually pretty cool. Of course, you have your summons. You can train your summons as well. Don't know how many levels they have. You have Chicken Little. Never saw that movie, by the way. You have Genie from Aladdin, Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, Peter Pan, who's now a summon. In the first game, he was an actual character where you go to his world. That's actually pretty awesome. There's, of course, the objects, weapons and such. You have a lot of nice weapons. You have the shields for Goofy. You have the staffs for Donald, magic staffs and stuff like that. There's quite some weapons, not as much, but there are enough for you to, you know, to equip them. Of course, there's the armor and the accessories. There's of course the items, healing items to heal your health or your magic points, powers. Key items are of course very important. There are other certain... These are all the items you will find in the whole game. See, that's what I like about these books. There's everything about the game you can find. Of course, there's the synthesis. How do you say it in English? I don't know. But there's materials, and with those materials you can actually create your own weapons and accessories and items, which is of course awesome to do. Yeah, and those are the and of course there's a list of creations you can have while using those materials. Yeah, that's always pretty awesome. And you can do that at the Mugles, and they are scattered all over the game, where you can use the materials. Of course, there's the enemies. Obviously, nice artwork again. Yeah, you see the animals with their information about what kind of level they are, how strong they will be. With every place you go, with every world you see, the names, of course. What are they weak against? What are they strong against? You know, the basics of an enemy. Obviously, it looks very nice. The artwork, it looks clear. Of course, there are these side characters. You go to the world of Pirates of the Caribbean, and you can actually train, you can actually go there and fight zombie pirates. The biggest part of this book is the walkthrough. And at these walkthrough, they actually tell you how to use the walkthrough. You have some nice artwork again with Mickey and Sora. You see different pages and how everything works. You actually see the maps, a 3D map, so to speak, of the places you go to. That's actually a very nice looking maps. Of course, the characters you stumble across, screenshots of that area, prologue. Yeah, like I'm saying, this is the prologue. It's one of the biggest prologues I've ever played. Of course, screenshots, nice artwork, more 3D maps. There isn't too much to say. They just tell you what you need to do, and they just tell you where you need to go, and they just give you tips on how you need to do certain things. On the characters you meet, you know, of course you meet bosses, you meet characters, you have certain mini games, stuff like that, how you should play them. Of course, 3D maps, it's all, you know, pretty basic, pretty clear, pretty self-explanatory. It's very nice how this book is being printed. Of course, the items you'll stumble across, the various treasure chests, of course, they will also, in those 3D maps, they will also tell you where to find those treasures on the exact places, which is very nice. This is actually handy. The various characters, Chip and Dale, who are taking care of your gummy ships. Of course, the names of the places you can go. You stumble across Uncle Scrooge, who is a very classic character from DuckTales, and even before that. Of course, Mugles, they give you explanations about that. Of course, you get, on every world, you get a extra character. Of course, you have Sora, Donald, and Goofy, but you always get an extra character from the certain worlds you visit. And one of the first worlds you might go to is the Land of Dragons from the movie Mulan. I never saw that movie, by the way. I still have to see it. But they give you a huge explanation on that character. You can actually train those characters. You stumble across Mulan, and Mulan is like the extra character you can use. I mostly take Goofy and Donald with me because, you know, those are the characters you fight with. But here it's the Land of Dragons, and you see a nice overview of the levels they have to go, of the abilities that she or he learns. That's always pretty cool. There's of course the boss. Beast's Castle. At the Beast's Castle, you get the Beast as a extra character that goes with you. Of course, there's a storyline, the bosses. Yeah, there's of course Hollow Bastion. You also have to collect Thorn Pages, and those Thorn Pages you can bring to a certain book, the Book of Winnie the Pooh, and once you collect the Thorn Pages, you go to that book in Hollow Bastion, and that book you can bring Thorn Pages, and once you bring a new Thorn Pages there's a new place open in that book. And you can actually go there. You see a little bit of a storyline there with Winnie the Pooh, because most characters are lost there, because once you bring the Thorn Pages there, these characters aren't lost anymore. And you can actually find a lot of treasure chests at every place you then visit. So that's actually pretty cool. So every page means new items or a new armor piece, or I think maybe a new weapon. And when you find the last page, Winnie the Pooh remembers, because Winnie the Pooh forgot all about his friends and forgot all about Sora. But if you bring the last page, he finally remembers it all. And you guys are friends again, and there's another emotional scene there. There's a lot of emotion in this game. That's what I really like about this game. Of course, you have the Olympus Coliseum with Auron. Instead of Hercules, you get Auron this time, and Auron is one of the most coolest characters in the Final Fantasy series, especially Final Fantasy X. He is pretty strong, pretty awesome. And of course, there's another overview about the levels you can train him, and of course the abilities and techniques he uses. So yeah, of course there's the boss, Hades, Cerberus, Demyx. You also stumble across Demyx. You stumble across Pete, who's one of the main bosses. Demyx, who is one of the organization nobodies. He's like a very strong nobody, but he's also part of the organization 13. Check out the game. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a whole bunch of story to be found in this game. Of course, there's the Disney Castle, which is one of my most favorite areas you go to. It's very awesome. The Timeless River is also one of my favorite places to go to, because inside the Disney Castle there's a gate. You go there and you go to the Timeless River, which takes place at Steamboat Willie, so it's all black and white. The sounds sound very black and white. You see other places which happens in other famous cartoons with Mickey in it, which is very awesome. And you see Goofy and Donald in their old form, in their black and white form, which is even more awesome. I really love this place. It brings you back. It gives you this nice feeling inside. Of course, you stumble across other characters, which is awesome. You stumble across the old Pete, who is actually not a bad guy this time, more like a grumpy person. Pete. There's of course Port Royal, the world of Pirates of the Caribbean, where you have to fight the pirates, the undead pirates, instead of the Heartless, but whatever. Agrabah, the world of Aladdin, with characters and of course the bosses. Nothing too much to say here. Halloween Town, of course, that's from Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a very awesome movie for its time. The bosses, how Donald, Goofy, and Sora looks like. Pride Lands of, the Lion King. Of course, you have Simba as a character. Simba is also one of the more awesome characters. Scar, who's like a boss type. Of course, there's Twilight Town again. You will get back there. You get back at Hollow Bastion. You stumble across one of the most known RPG characters in the world. It's Cloud. Cloud is like also this awesome character, but he's on the right side. And then you stumble across Yuna, Riku, and Pain, from Final Fantasy X-2. They're actually on the wrong side, but they turn on the right side, Just check out the game if you're really interested. You stumble across Tifa, also one of the Final Fantasy characters, just like Aerith is, and Aerith and Tifa are both very interested in Cloud, obviously. The world of Tron, that's called Space Paradroids. You fight with Tron. You fight against Sark and the MCP. Hollow Bastion again. This is a true walkthrough, so follow this walkthrough. Will get you to the places you need to go with the story. You stumble across Sephiroth here. There's of course the big battle. This is one of the more awesome scenes in this game. Battle of the 1000 Heartless. That was a truly awesome scene. Of course, you go back to the other places. You go back to the other places again for extra stuff, for extra items, for extra characters, which is awesome. You go back to the Land of Dragons again. You go back to Beast's Castle again. to complete that storyline. You go back to Port Royal, Olympus Coliseum. Of course, a couple of tournaments you can actually compete in for extra levels, extra armor, extra items. You go back to Agrabah, Halloween Town. It's pretty much self-explanatory, of course, obviously. Pride Lands, you go back to Pride Lands, you fight a boss there. A huge boss, by the way. This is a big boss that almost reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus. Space Paradroids, Twilight Town, you go back there. Sometimes, when you go to places for a second time, you complete certain stories. So that's actually pretty cool that you can actually revisit places. And one of the last worlds is the world that never was. And it is a very mysterious, creepy kind of name. Because what do they mean with that? I don't know. But it sounds awesome. Of course, the enemies you encounter there, the guys you need to fight. Yeah, Gzikbar. Gzikbar is one of the guys from Organization 13. He's also a nobody. That's what they called. You have to fight against Luxord, who's also a part of the nobodies. Of course, the big man, Syx. There's another character called Riku. Who doesn't know him? If you know Kingdom Hearts, you know Riku. Riku is like your true friend. Of course, there's Xemnas, who's like the big boy from Organization 13. He will change into a different outfit and will fight against you. Of course, that was the last. It's not a super long game. You can finish the game in a few days, but I haven't. I finished it. I mean, I played it twice. I finished it for the first time, but I didn't finish it for the second time because I didn't want to play it anymore. So yeah, it is a pretty, big. If you want to do everything, it's a pretty long, big game. But if you just want to follow the storyline, there will be a lot of things to do. But it's a pretty big, rich story. And there's a lot of things you can do if you don't want to follow the storyline. But if you want to follow the storyline, you have a very good RPG to follow, an action RPG, which is fine. Of course, you have the extras. I've already talked about the 100 Acre Woods. Like I'm saying, if you find a torn page, you can go back to that book, and you can follow certain storylines. You can do certain mini games, and you can find items. Of course, there's Atlantica from The Little Mermaid, and you can do certain quick time events. And with a quick time event, you will sing a song. You will sing the song from the movie itself, and you sing new songs. But it's always cool to listen to the old songs. Of course, you have YouTube now. You can find these songs from The Little Mermaid on YouTube, obviously. But you can also do this in this game. So that's always very awesome. You have, of course, the Pride Lands. Of course, there's an optional adventure. There's, of course, the unusual battle levels, which is also very awesome. Go check it out if you want to know. There's, of course, the Olympus Coliseum tournaments, which is very awesome, I would say. I mean, they are pretty challenging. They're optional. You don't have to do them, but they're just so awesome to do. There's, of course, your standard tips and info. And, of course, the requirements and rewards. Prizes for collectors. You can actually collect a lot of stuff in this game. There's Jiminy's journal. He will write everything down, what you encounter in storyline and stuff like that. You can actually train your forms, like I've already talked about. This is like the certain mini games you will encounter, where you can find these places for the mini games. There's, of course, a secret ending. I'm not going to spoil too much. The gummy routes, there are certain, of course, you will, like I'm saying, there are also shmups periods. If you want to go to a new world, you have to do these shmups levels with your gummy ship, and you will see what you can find there. You can find treasures there, real good treasures for your gummy ship or for yourself, which is awesome. Every portal has like more missions, so of course you have the index, 100% complete guides from Piggyback, of course. Of course, you have the credits, the people that made the game, and of course that made the book. At the back of the book, they actually explain that this is a 100% complete guide, but if you follow the book from beginning to end, you see this, like, this is the 100% complete guide to Kingdom Hearts 2, and it will give you everything, and we mean everything you need to discover, to enjoy, and to finish Kingdom Hearts 2, like you don't already know that. Alright, this was Kingdom Hearts 2, the complete guide. I really want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hope you enjoyed it. That's the most important thing. And I'll see you guys next time with some more videos. See you guys later. Goodbye, everybody.